In this episode, we'll prepare the GLA45 Aufrecht Melcher Gross Asbach for its first test drive. A lot of parts have arrived, like an original bumper, the original diamond grille, which we think is really awesome, and we've also received an original carbon front lip. We'll also give the Aufrecht Melcher Gross Asbach a major service since it hasn't had maintenance in years. This must be done before the first test drive. Battery clamps and wheel arches are here. I can't wait to get this beast ready for its first test drive. Let's quickly get started with a maintenance service and then we'll put the panels on. There's a lot to do today, so let's just get started quickly. Let's go. Well, the spark plugs and the air filter have both been replaced, and I have to say that went pretty smoothly. One spark plug was a bit sketchy because it had to be installed at an angle. That's this one, this pipe here from the intercooler. It was a bit in the way. And if you have a GLA45 or an A45 or a CLA45, then this is definitely something you should watch out for. That's these hoses. Like on this one too. It's pretty worn in and you really need to watch out for that, because the engine cover then vibrates against that pipe and then that pipe will break. I'm going to start the car now. I prefer to replace the spark plugs in a cold engine rather than a warm one, so I'm going to start the car now. That way I can already check if the spark plugs are good. I'm letting the oil warm up to drain it easily. Once that's done, the engine service is finished. Now I'll start the car. I'm still amazed every time by how good this thing sounds. It's incredible. As you can see, my oil temperature is already getting pretty warm. It's been idling for about 15 minutes now, so I think it's run long enough. We're going to drain the oil. Let's go. I always find it impressive to cut open the old oil filter just to see the condition of the engine. That way you can see if there's any debris in it. Copper shavings, aluminum shavings. That might suggest engine damage, but in our case, everything looks fine, so the engine maintenance is done. First, we'll replace the front brake discs and pads. These brake discs are huge. Well, I think they're comparable to the ones on the front of the Lamborghini Gallardo. Put on a nice song, we're going to tackle those brakes. Let's go. The first brake disc and new pads are installed. What stood out to me is that the brake pads have an arrow on them. The weird thing is, I flipped through the manual of the Brembo brake pads we bought, and there's nothing in there about the arrow on the brake pad. Well, that's really strange because the original brake pads that came out of the Mercedes also have an arrow marking, and those point upwards, as you can see, and mine point downwards. And the weird thing is, I think those arrows indicate the rotation direction of your wheel. So that actually means the brake pads that were in there before were actually installed the wrong way around. They wouldn't put an arrow on a brake pad for no reason. I just installed them the way I think is right, which is to match the rotation direction of your wheel. I'm going to continue with the right side. And once the brakes are on, we'll finally continue with the rebuild of this project. The fenders will go on, the bumpers will go on. This is going to be an awesome project once it's running. Stay tuned. I'll spare you the camera footage of how to change a brake disc and brake pad, since you just saw the other side. So here's a camera trick. And just like that, the brake discs and pads are installed here as well. Now we can move on to the rear, and that's what we're getting to now. The left rear tire is so badly punctured that we can't fix it. The hole is huge. My finger even fits inside. Yeah, the tires we bought for this were super cheap, only 55 euros each, and now you're all gonna hate us in the comments. So why do you put such bad tires on the back? This one has curb damage, this one has a ton of curb damage. And the weird thing is, we still haven't decided whether we're going to put new rims on this car. The main thing is it needs to roll now and be able to drive for the first test. That's why we chose very cheap tires. The front ones aren't much better, they have milestone on them. Well, those aren't much more expensive than 55 euros each, and we thought, yeah, we're not going to do that now. Investing 250 euros in really good tires for each one, so that's almost 1,000 euros just for tires on this car, while we might go for different wheels in the future. We're replacing the tires now since we moved our tire machine from the service van here. It's rusty, but it always works. So now we're going to replace the rear tires, and then it's completely ready for a first test drive, except for the body parts because we'll install those later. Let's go. The Trista Sport Power 2? Wow, that's a wild tire, but I don't think so. Like I said, these tires are just for the first test drive. If the car is good, we'll likely buy new rims and tires. We're now arriving at something that's going to make a difference with this car, namely bumpers, fenders. This is going to be a lot of work. Before installing the bumpers, we need to replace a few parts such as the windshield washer pump. The windshield washer hose is broken. These are the small, time-consuming tasks left before the bumpers can be installed. We also mentioned that we'll fix this at Spider Eye Press, where the car will later be painted. He's gonna show us the best way to do this bodywork. With all that said, we're just going to replace the nozzles, replace the hoses, and then we'll get to the big bumper parts. Let's go. Welcome back! As promised, today we'll prepare the car for its first test drive. Later, a guy will come by who will actually clear all the errors for us, and for that, the car just needs to be complete. All sensors, including parking sensors, must be connected to avoid errors. Before we can start with that, we're first going to mount the side panels. And as you know, we also cut the old ones loose. Now we need to carefully remove those, and for that, the side skirt has to come off. Just going to keep on finishing up our Aufrecht Melcher Grossasbach. Let's go. Mercedes really thought that through. We don't have to remove the entire side skirt, just loosen a few screws, then it can move aside a bit and you can get to it right away. It's always nice to buy a damaged car complete, so with all the parts still attached. Because as you can see, for example, if you buy a side panel, this one is original. We really tried to get everything original, but as you can see, there's a clip here and not here. Imagine if you had to order all those small items separately from the dealer, you'd waste a lot of time organizing everything. And this way we can just disassemble our trimmed fender. And then we can put it on our new fender and we can mount it right away. That's what we're going to do. Even the small brackets are not skipped, because this is a bracket that holds the fender. And of course we've ordered everything new, so also the small things. Everything is considered, so this bracket will be as well. Simply replaced and put back. And because of that, you just know that everything will be in the right place later. We arrive at the front bumper, and this front bumper was actually delivered completely blank. So that means there's simply no inner parts in it, except for the headlight washers. Here we have to transfer quite a bit from our old bumper, and that's also the nice thing about it. What I just mentioned, that if your car is complete, you can simply transfer everything as long as it's all intact. I actually asked the dealer if all these parts can be obtained separately, and that's not the case. So if you order a bumper from the dealer, this is always included, but in our case, since we bought a second-hand bumper, it's not included. Since we kept our old parts, we can transfer them over. That's the benefit of having everything. We're going to try to hang the bumper for a moment without actually transferring all those inner supports yet. That's because later, when the car goes to the painter, it will be taken apart again. We received a used wiring harness with sensors, since new ones are extremely expensive. As you can see, ours was torn off on the left front, so now we have a few extra sensors with it. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put this little grill in, because we'll need it later when we want to make the car error-free. It's a bit of a puzzle, because it's going to come apart again soon anyway. So, yeah, with that said, we're going to transfer the wiring harness, put the little grill in, then we're going to try to hang the bumper on the corners at the front without actually transferring the whole inside. So that's our plan of action. Let's go. Front bumper is in place. I think now it's time to mount the wheels and start clearing the errors. First, we connected our battery to a trickle charger, which is a requirement when you're going to do programming. As you can see, we managed to get hold of a Mercedes-Benz diagnostic tool, but unfortunately, the programming didn't go as expected. Our problem still hasn't been solved. As you have seen, we've been busy diagnosing the Mercedes. We've discovered a few things, namely that we're missing an air quality sensor that's supposed to be in the left front of the bumper. That's actually super important for your air conditioning system and other components, because you use it to check how clean the air is. It's strange that a Mercedes is so smart. Also, we found our headlight modules are defective. The diagnostic tool detects them but can't access them. And that often indicates that they have an internal fault or are broken, so both of our headlights were broken. It also stayed outside in the rain for a long time, and even in the snow if I remember right. So yeah, those modules are located at the bottom of the headlight. They just filled up with water, and that's why they're defective. We're ordering 2 new headlight modules and replacing the xenon module, so all modules will be replaced at once. This won't stop us from doing our first test. We just did a little lap around the lot here, and we heard a noise coming from the front left. Turns out our stabilizer bar could still be tightened just a bit more. And now that I've done that, the noise is taken care of. Now the car is going back up, because the throttle position sensor on the front right was broken by the previous owner, so it was in the trunk. We're really happy about that because of course we had a warning on the dashboard saying one tire pressure sensor was missing, and what do you know? It had broken off at the valve. That actually always happens, and what we managed to do is that we had a BMW valve lying around, and that just works. You can just swap them over. So for all the Mercedes haters who drive a BMW and a Lanzon, those parts actually fit together a bit, so keep that in mind. Don't hate too much, guys. It almost looks like a professional BMW garage working on a Mercedes now. People are going to hate us for this. I think it's about 10 on the mark. That's really nothing. 10 Newton. Pup poop. So don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, turn on your notifications, share with your friends, and we'll see each other in the next episode where we're just going to go full launch control.